Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things, and I have a fun card for Friday. Today I'm a little bit late getting it started. I actually thought I had footage of it, and I reviewed my footage I had done about a week ago, and I was not happy with it. So this is a redo. This particular chocolate bar was a project that Libby and I worked on when we crafted virtually a bit ago, and I saw these sample chocolate bars in Pinterest and wanted to create my own, so that's what we did. Now she owns Nothing's Better Than, which is the stamp set and dies for this set. So I had, when I was visiting her, cut and stamped a whole bunch of different items from this set. I focused on chocolate, cookies, and coffee. There's another nice sentiment that I had as an option, which is I love you more than chocolate. So I have some papers to show you that were for me to choose from for the wrapper part, as well as if you were wanting to use this for either an anniversary or a Valentine card, you could do Nothing's Better Than You Are Better Than Chocolate. So the papers that I chose from are in pattern play. I was focusing on stripes, and these are the 3 striped patterns that you can choose from. And even though this is diagonal, you could cut enough by making it straight if you really wanted it straight. And if you wanted to do a Valentine for this paper would be really cute. For I love you, I think it's I love you more than chocolate. So let's get into my card. I wanted it to be thick, so you might have to deal with extra shipping. I have not tried to run this through my jig to see if it's more than 1/4 inch thick, but it is lumpy and bumpy because of my my dots. These are the matte resin dots that are new in the holiday catalog. They do come in holiday colors, but they are ombre, so I picked kind of middle tones rather than the more Christmassy tones. For the chocolate itself, I started with an A2 size of early espresso. Decided it was too fat. I wanted it to look like a true chocolate bar. I think that this is a pretty authentic looking chocolate bar by kind of the height and width. It's one of the thicker chocolate bars, but I took my 5.5 by 4.25 and I trimmed it down to 3.25 by 5.5. It's a little bit shorter because I think I cut it off. I can see it's about 5 3/8. The other thing I wanted to accommodate was with the thickness of this card. I wanted to make sure it would fit in an envelope. So that is why it's a little bit smaller full height wise of an A2. From there you can see, if you look at my measurements, that I have at 1/8 on either end. I put a score line to make it look like a molded, formed piece of chocolate, or of a chocolate bar. Then I did scoring at 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inches after I added the 1/8. And then horizontally, I also added score lines 1/8 at the top, and then 1 1/8, and I did a score line at 2 1/8. Then for the build up, you have these double layers. They are raised up with dimensionals on the bottom one, which is 7/8 of an inch. So there are 6 7/8 inch squares with dimensionals on the back. Then I did 5/8 inch squares, and on the back I put 110-pound paper because I was getting concerned and I didn't want to really overdo the thickness, and I wanted it to look more authentic. So right now all of these are just tacked on. I will go back on and make them attached with tear and tape, because this is a 3D card and it has more possibility of being touched and handled, I will be replacing the 6 tops with tear and tape to make sure they are adhered well. So then I took, to build up the inside of the card so that when I wrapped it, it would look authentic, I took a strip of old espresso, early espresso, sorry, that was left over from cutting all this out, and I think it's about 1 inch wide. I taped it to a strip of leftover 110 pound or thick, basic white thick. I then added dimensionals along the bottom of the white, and I tacked it down on the early espresso. Now you could, if you were really wanting to conserve your early espresso, nothing says you couldn't have just made the chocolate bar part down to about here, and then had like a white base, because I will open it up and show you that when you open it, it is on a white base, but I actually did all my wraps for the candy bar part on a separate layer of card front, all decorated up, and then I attached the whole chocolate bar to the base. But you could play around with that. I pretty much just built this as I went, and Libby's dimensions were a little bit different than mine, and she did her stacking of her chocolate squares also different. So we kind of we didn't look at any instructions, we just were being inspired by the other people's chocolate bars, and we went for it. So I used real foil from the kitchen, and then I made sure when I did my wrapper part that I tore it and then folded down and scrunched up the foil like you would if you were going to be eating a bar. I did decide that when I cut out the sentiment pieces that they needed some pop of color against the stripes, and that is why you see the brown early espresso really thin mats on that. They are not popped up, they are adhered directly because it's already a very thick card. And then the chocolate, just for fun, I went ahead and left some of the inside pieces in just because I really liked it. They were pretty well attached, and I thought I'm just going to leave them there and see what it looks like. So that concludes today's Fun Card Friday. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions by leaving them in the video or over on my blog. I love to hear from you. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.